Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode here on the PGSMP. You will notice right off the bat where we are. We are at the spawn area and the general location for all player-ran shops and such. And things haven't changed a whole lot over here in terms of the shops and such. This shop has gotten a lot more decor and is looking very, very nice. This was recently acquired within the last couple of weeks by Preacher, and let's just have a quick glimpse at what he offers. It looks like here he has enchanted books on the first floor and an assortment of different supplies. It says floor supplies. I'm not entirely certain what's meant by that. Or not floor supplies, that's my mistake. It's just different supplies, paper, logs, looks like some redstone, coal, bones, and arrows. And Preacher, if you're watching this, I know that arrows are not a very high selling topic, but maybe you'll have more success than I ever did trying to sell those goods. No other real changes over here in this area, but there have been two developments over here that I'm actually really happy with how they turned out. I guess this isn't the development I was speaking of, but it does have to do with it. There's a lot of these mushrooms that have just kind of sprouted up, and you can tell that they've been mined out. And they were mined out with a very specific purpose, which is actually right over this way. It's not the tower of mushrooms, but rather it's a different build or a different project that we can go tour as soon as we dispel of these phantoms. So if we move past the tower of red mushrooms, you'll actually see that this build has cropped up, and I don't know who to give credit to, but whoever it is that put this together, it's an absolutely amazing build. I think that it looks really good, and it uses a block palette that not many people tend to play around with at all. So really good job there. I'm not going to really snoop around this build, but I will at least get up on top of it so you can get a better idea of what it comprises of. There's a little wraparound porch that comes up from the bottom side of this mushroom and into more of a habitable quarter here up top. And I'd assume that that little hole in the floor will conduct its way down to this smaller mushroom over here on the side. But it's not mine unless I have the permission from whoever the builder is to look into it a little bit closer. Then we could certainly do so. And the fact that there's some windows and other enhancing elements here certainly helps add to the charm of the overall build. But we are actually here for a secondary purpose, and that is to test a trap that has been put together over here at this build. And I have spoken with the owner of the base that is trapped, that's Jincaedv, and he's given me the go-ahead to film this and showcase it live on camera. And then hopefully either today or in our next episode, depending on how I'm doing time-wise, we will use some of these chorus flowers that I've collected for making a shop, or for making a farm, for which we can then sell the goods out of that area. So let's take a moment and just store up any of our tools and things that we don't want to lose here. I'm actually going to only take in a few of my golden carrots. I'm not going to be able to put that in there, but we're going to be stopping off at a ender chest to store up these items in just a brief moment anyway. I don't want to lose my silk touch pick, so I will bring this one just in case I need to mine my way out of anything. And the only things that I will be bringing into this are some food, this pick, the chorus fruit, one potion of slow falling, some rockets. I actually don't even think I want to bring in all of these rockets, so we'll save a couple more of those in there. And then we'll place everything else into this shulker box. And then we will stash this away in an end chest, which there's one right here. And it actually looks like I'm going to have to store some other items in this chest just to make a little bit more room. All right, so the base entrance that we're looking to access is just inside here, off to the side of these traps. And let's have a close look at what's going on down here before we really leap into anything. You can see that down towards the bottom there is some redstone that's lining the base down there, so I'm not certain what all that's about. And there are signs placed all over the drop chute, presumably to prevent you from placing a water bucket to break your fall as you're on your way down. I'm not entirely sure what mechanism we have here, but I have been asked to, or tasked with the effect of trying to get in and out of this base, and so I was not given any restrictions with how to do so. So let's get a potion of slow falling and make our way down to the bottom. And there's not really a way to get out away from that. So there actually was possibly one other thing that I could have done. So I'm going to try that. And if that does not work, then I will indeed concede defeat. So we've seen a little bit more about how that trap works. It actually looks like I would be able to survive it going down a second time. But let's drink another one of these potions and see if that is indeed the case. Yeah, there was the drop spot was replenished there, allowing us to exit. Okay, so let me try my other plan, or my other thought process for getting out of that trap. I've still got some slow falling left, and it's currently set to the point where I would fall down through the bottom if I were to be unfortunate enough to fall into this unsuspecting. So my other thought process is yes, you would want to try and fall, because the fall damage would already do enough for you. And then if you were to use some chorus fruit, you can indeed make your way away from the trap itself, albeit you're going to end up somewhere where you don't necessarily know what's going to be beneficial for you or where you would need to go from here. But it is indeed an option for escape, and you can hear those minecarts just tracking, and I'm going to have to turn that down in some post-editing here. But let's see if we can make our way into something recognizable, and it doesn't look like this way is the ticket. So I'm going to try using a couple more of these chorus fruits to see if I can end up somewhere a little bit better. And if you had some protection gear, you'd probably be okay for a little bit longer of getting around these items. And it actually looks like this is some sort of a strip mine that might get me to where I would want to end up if I were trying to break into some place. So out of the 2 trials that I did trying to get out of that trap, I was able to succeed once. Again, you've got to be able to have the foresight for something like that, as those traps are going to put you in a world of hurt real quick. So the first option, at least that would work decently well, would be if you can react fast enough with an elytra, you will probably be able to get out of there. The second option, of course, and the one that had infinite more quote-unquote success, depending on what you determine success to be, was the use of the chorus fruit. And yeah, it got me out of the trap, but it also put me down in a cave. So if the purpose is break and enter the base, then the cave is going to put you in a position where, then the chorus fruit is going to put you in a position where you're not going to know exactly where it is that you ended up. Let's at least reset that trap, and we should be able to do so fairly easily. If we throw an item down, it should interact with that string, and yes, it did. And as a matter of fact, that would be a different option for you if you wanted to break in now that we know how that works. So if I throw another item down, you'll see that it triggers the trap. And then if you see that the trap has been triggered, where it is a 2-lane system, if I fall down through it, it will just barely catch me and make it so I am in a safer place. So that is indeed a secondary option for getting out of those traps. So I suppose with that little demonstration there, that is 3 out of 3 attempts. I was able to thwart that trap twice. So just be aware that those things are things that you may have to deal with. But perhaps more importantly, unless you're invited over to someone's base, don't go in there. It's not that hard to figure out. You should respect other people's spaces when you're living on a communal server, unless you're like in an anarchy environment, which this certainly is not. But as a part of that venture, I ended up out in the sea over in that general direction and was able to find a buried treasure map that hadn't been discovered from the ship, at least. And so I want to see if we can figure out where the treasure in this ship is. And you can see here, yeah, we are now heading in the correct direction. So we're going to need to head over to the X marks the spot, which is down this way. And it looks like it's right on this little isthmus over here. Or it's not an isthmus, it's more of a peninsula. So now that we are right on top of this, I actually feel like it's going to be better for us to be looking at it this way. And what you're going to want to do to find these is once you're like right on top of the X, you're going to want to turn on your suggestions, and I believe it's on either 99 or 44. So let's try 99 first. I want to say that's what it is. And then let's switch over to our tool, and yeah, 99, that's where you find it. So we were able to track down a couple of extra pieces of TNT, which that's good because we sell those items. Some iron, some gold, some cooked salmon. And my guess as to why cooked salmon is in these chests is because, well, was probably raw at one point, but it's been sitting and kind of cooking under sand. But I could be wrong. And then there's a heart of the sea as well, which could be useful if we ever track down the necessary amount of nautilus shells to actually make a conduit. So we'll have to see if that does indeed come to fruition. But now you know a little trick when it comes to hunting for treasure chests. If you have a map, just get right on top of that X and then find the 99 spot. And actually something else that I like to do with my treasure maps once I have them, because they don't do me any good, is I will go back to that spot. Oh, I actually landed right on top of it. And I will actually leave that treasure map right in the chest itself. As again, it doesn't do any other good. And if someone does end up finding that, well, they'll have access to a treasure map that's already been claimed. So there's that, I suppose. Well, I think that's going to do it for today. I don't want to drag this on too long with building a new farm, but that is where we're going to pick up in our next installment from this server. As you can see in my hand, I've got that chorus flowers, so we will be building a chorus fruit farm. So we don't have to keep trekking back to the end every single time that we want something. And hey, who knows, maybe we can start making our own end rods and selling those in the server market. But I want to thank you again for watching today's video. If you enjoyed it, please feel free to leave a like on the video, and don't forget to subscribe for more daily variety content. Until then, thanks again for watching, and I hope that you have an absolutely fantastic rest of your day. Bye-bye.